Once upon a time, on a sandy beach by the sparkling blue sea, there was a mother turtle who had laid her eggs in the sand. She carefully buried them and swam away, leaving them to hatch and grow on their own. Days and weeks went by, and one by one, the eggs began to crack open. Out popped two tiny turtles, so small they could fit in the palm of your hand. They looked around at their new world with wonder in their eyes. But they were not alone on the beach. Seagulls circled overhead, looking for a tasty snack, and crabs scurried along the sand, searching for their own dinner. The twin turtles knew they had to be careful. With their tiny flippers, they dug their way out of the sand and made their way towards the water's edge. It was a long and tiring journey, and they had to dodge obstacles along the way, like rocks and twigs and clumps of seaweed. But they never gave up. They kept crawling towards the ocean, step by step, until at last, they felt the cool, refreshing water lap at their flippers. They had made it. As they swam out to sea, they looked back at the beach where they were born. They knew they would face many challenges in their new life in the ocean, but they were brave and determined, and they were excited to see what lay ahead. And so, the twin turtles began their journey to the sea, full of hope and adventure. Once the twin turtles had made it to the ocean, they were so excited to start their new life at sea. They swam and splashed and explored their new world, amazed by all the new things they saw. But soon, they realized that the ocean could be a dangerous place. There were hungry predators everywhere, like sharks and eels and big, scary octopuses. And there were other creatures who wanted to harm them, like seagulls, who swooped down to grab them with their sharp beaks. The twin turtles knew they had to be careful. They decided to race to a safe spot in the ocean, where they could rest and catch their breath without fear of being attacked. But it wasn't going to be easy. The journey was long, and there were so many obstacles in their way. The first challenge was a group of seagulls who spotted them from above. The birds dove down, trying to snatch the twin turtles with their sharp talons. But the twin turtles swam together, making it hard for the seagulls to get a good grip. They paddled their flippers as fast as they could, trying to escape the birds' clutches. The next challenge was a swarm of jellyfish. They floated in the water, their long, stinging tentacles reaching out like poison tendrils. The twin turtles had to swim carefully, dodging the jellyfish as they went. They felt the sting of the jellyfish on their flippers, but they didn't let it slow them down. The final challenge was a group of crabs, who scuttled along the ocean floor, snapping their claws menacingly. The twin turtles swam over them quickly, using their powerful flippers to push off the sandy bottom and stay out of reach of the crab's sharp claws. Finally, after many challenges and obstacles, the twin turtles reached the safe spot in the ocean. They were tired and a little bit sore from all the swimming, but they were also proud of themselves for making it through. They knew that they would face more challenges in the future, but they were ready to face them together. And so, the twin turtles rested and caught their breath, ready for whatever the ocean had in store for them next. One day, as the twin turtles swam through the ocean, they noticed that one of them was having trouble keeping up. The turtle was swimming crookedly, and they seemed to be struggling to paddle their right flipper. The twin turtles stopped to investigate, and saw that their sibling's flipper was injured. It was covered in scratches and cuts, and it looked like something had taken a big bite out of it. The injured turtle was upset and worried. They didn't know how they would be able to swim with only 3 flippers. They thought they would never be able to catch up with the other turtles, or keep up with the currents. The twin turtles knew they had to help. They decided to take their sibling to a wise old sea turtle who lived nearby. The wise old turtle was known for helping injured sea creatures and giving good advice. The wise old turtle examined the injured turtle's flipper and nodded thoughtfully. "This is a serious injury," they said, "but with some rest and time, your flipper will heal. In the meantime, you will need to work on your other flippers to compensate for the missing one. The injured turtle was relieved. They knew it would take time and effort, but they were determined to get better. The twin turtles promised to stay by their side and help them practice. For days and weeks, the twin turtles helped their sibling practice swimming with only 3 flippers. They swam slowly and steadily, taking breaks when they got tired. They practiced turning and twisting, diving and surfacing, and soon the injured turtle was getting better and better. Finally, after much practice, the injured turtle was able to keep up with the other turtles and swim with ease. They were even faster and more agile than before, thanks to all the hard work they had put in. They felt grateful to their twin turtles for their help and support, and they knew they could face any challenge with their siblings by their side. And so, the twin turtles and their sibling continued their journey through the ocean, stronger and more united than ever before. One day, the twin turtles were swimming through the ocean when they saw something beautiful in the distance. It was a garden, but not like any garden they had ever seen before. This garden was underwater, and it was filled with colorful plants and strange, exotic creatures. The twin turtles swam closer, amazed by the sights and sounds of the garden. They saw bright pink corals swaying gently in the current and schools of glittering fish darting in and out of the plants. They heard the chattering of crabs and the clicking of shrimp, and they saw starfish crawling lazily along the seafloor. As they explored the garden, the twin turtles noticed that some of the plants were wilting and dying. They saw that some of the creatures were hungry and weak, and they knew they had to help. The twin turtles decided to work together to care for the underwater garden. They started by cleaning up the debris and garbage that had washed up from the shore. They used their powerful flippers to move rocks and shells, creating a safe space for the plants and creatures. Next, they worked to feed the hungry creatures, gathering seaweed and algae to give them the nutrients they needed. They even taught some of the other sea creatures how to help, showing them where to find food and how to care for the plants. As they worked, the garden began to come back to life. The plants grew taller and brighter, and the creatures swam more energetically. The twin turtles felt proud of the work they had done, and knew that they had made a difference in the ocean. From that day on, the twin turtles visited the underwater garden regularly, always making sure to care for it and keep it healthy. They felt grateful for the opportunity to help, and they knew that they could make a difference in the world if they worked together. And so, the twin turtles continued their journey through the ocean, knowing that they had a purpose and a mission to make the world a better place. One day, as the twin turtles were swimming through the ocean, they saw something strange in the distance. It was an island, but not like any island they had ever seen before. This island was shrouded in mist and fog, and it seemed to be surrounded by a dark, mysterious aura. The twin turtles were curious and decided to investigate. As they swam closer, they saw that the island was covered in thick vines and strange, exotic plants. They heard the chattering of monkeys and the calls of exotic birds, and they saw shimmering butterflies fluttering through the air. As they explored the island, the twin turtles noticed that something was wrong. They saw that some of the creatures on the island were sick and weak, and they knew they had to help. The twin turtles decided to work together to care for the creatures on the island. They started by gathering fruit and nuts to feed the hungry creatures. They used their powerful flippers to move rocks and logs, creating safe spaces for the animals to rest and recover. Next, they worked to find medicine and herbs to help the sick creatures. They searched the island using their keen sense of smell to find the right plants and berries. They even taught some of the other creatures how to find the medicine, showing them where to look and how to use it. As they worked, the island began to come back to life. The creatures grew stronger and more energetic, and the plants grew taller and brighter. The twin turtles felt proud of the work they had done, and knew that they had made a difference in the world. From that day on, the twin turtles visited the island regularly, always making sure to care for the creatures and keep the island healthy. They felt grateful for the opportunity to help, and they knew that they could make a difference in the world if they worked together. And so, the twin turtles continued their journey through the ocean, knowing that there were many mysterious and wonderful places in the world, waiting to be discovered and explored. One sunny day, the twin turtles were swimming through the ocean when they saw something in the distance. It was a large ship, but it was not moving. As they got closer, they saw that the ship had sunk to the bottom of the ocean. The twin turtles were curious and decided to explore the sunken ship. As they swam closer, they saw that the ship was covered in seaweed and barnacles. They heard the clicking of crabs and the swooshing of eels, and they saw schools of fish darting in and out of the ship's hull. As they explored the ship, the twin turtles noticed that something was wrong. They saw that some of the creatures that lived around the ship were in danger, and they knew they had to help. The twin turtles decided to work together to rescue the creatures that were trapped. They started by clearing away the debris that was blocking the entrance to the ship. They used their powerful flippers to move rocks and pieces of wood, creating a safe path for the trapped creatures to escape. Next, they worked to find a way to lift the ship back to the surface. They searched the ship, using their keen eyesight to find ropes and pulleys. They even taught some of the other sea creatures how to help, showing them where to find the tools and how to use them. As they worked, the ship slowly rose back to the surface of the ocean. The trapped creatures escaped and swam safely away, and the twin turtles felt proud of the work they had done. From that day on, the twin turtles continued their journey through the ocean, always keeping an eye out for creatures in need of their help. They felt grateful for the opportunity to make a difference, and they knew that by working together, they could achieve great things. And so, the twin turtles swam on, their hearts filled with a sense of purpose and a determination to make the world a better place. One beautiful day, the twin turtles were swimming through the ocean when they saw something shimmering in the distance. As they swam closer, they saw that it was a pearl, the biggest pearl they had ever seen. The pearl was so beautiful, it glimmered like a diamond in the sunlight. The twin turtles were curious and decided to take a closer look. As they approached the pearl, they saw that it was being guarded by a giant octopus. The octopus was known to be very greedy and had a reputation for taking anything shiny that it found. The twin turtles knew that they had to be careful. They didn't want to get into a fight with the octopus, but they also didn't want to let it keep the pearl all to itself. They decided to work together to come up with a plan. First, they swam around the octopus, distracting it with their fast and agile movements. While the octopus was focused on them, the twin turtles worked together to carefully take the pearl away from the octopus. They used their powerful flippers to carefully lift the pearl, making sure not to drop it. As they swam away, the octopus noticed what was happening and started to chase them. The twin turtles knew they had to swim fast and work together to escape. They swam through coral reefs, past schools of fish, and over sandy beaches. The octopus chased them the whole way, but the twin turtles were too quick and clever for the octopus to catch. Finally, they reached a quiet cove where they could hide and rest. They placed the pearl on the sandy bottom of the cove and admired its beauty. The pearl was so precious, they knew they had to find a safe place to keep it. The twin turtles decided to work together to find the perfect place to keep the pearl safe. They swam around the ocean, searching for a place that was hidden and protected. After much searching, they found a secret cave deep in the ocean, where they carefully placed the pearl. From that day on, the twin turtles visited the pearl often, always making sure that it was safe and protected. They felt grateful for the opportunity to have found something so precious, and they knew that by working together, they could accomplish anything. One day, the twin turtles were swimming through the ocean when they saw a beautiful coral reef. The coral was glowing in the sunlight, shimmering with all the colors of the rainbow. As they swam closer, they saw that the coral was more than just beautiful. It was also magical. The coral had the power to grant wishes, and many sea creatures came to the reef to make their wishes come true. The twin turtles were curious and decided to make a wish of their own. They closed their eyes and wished for something special. Suddenly, the water around them started to swirl, and the coral reef started to glow even brighter. The twin turtles opened their eyes to see that their wish had come true. Their wish was to be able to talk to all the sea creatures in the ocean, and now they could. They could hear the fish chatting with each other, the whales singing their songs, and the dolphins clicking and chirping. The twin turtles were thrilled. They swam through the ocean, talking to all the sea creatures they met. They learned about the different types of fish, the habits of the whales, and the secrets of the ocean. As they swam, they also noticed that some sea creatures were in trouble. They saw fish stuck in nets and turtles tangled in plastic. They knew they had to help. The twin turtles worked together to free the trapped creatures, using their strong flippers to break apart the nets and pull off the plastic. They also taught the sea creatures how to avoid getting trapped in the first place, showing them where to find safe places to swim and hide. With their newfound ability to talk to all the sea creatures, the twin turtles felt grateful for the opportunity to help those in need. They knew that the magical coral had given them a special gift, and they promised to use it to make the ocean a better place for all who lived in it. And so, the twin turtles swam on, talking to all the sea creatures they met, helping those in need, and always staying true to their kind and caring nature. One day, the twin turtles were swimming through the ocean when they saw something unusual. It was a sunken ship lying on the ocean floor. The twin turtles were curious and decided to take a closer look. As they swam around the ship, they saw that it was full of treasure. There were gold coins, silver jewelry, and sparkling gems. The twin turtles were amazed. They had never seen so much treasure before. They knew they had to be careful, though they didn't want to get into trouble with the humans, who had once owned the ship. They decided to work together to carefully explore the ship and collect some of the treasure. They used their strong flippers to swim through the ship's corridors, and they found many shiny objects along the way. As they collected the treasure, they heard a sound. It was the sound of humans coming. The twin turtles knew they had to hide, and they quickly swam away from the ship. As they swam, they heard the humans talking. They were talking about how they were going to retrieve their lost treasure from the sunken ship. The twin turtles knew they had to warn the other sea creatures. They swam through the ocean, telling all the sea creatures they met to stay away from the sunken ship. They warned the fish, the crabs, and the lobsters. They even warned the octopuses and the sharks. The twin turtles felt proud of themselves for warning all the sea creatures. They knew they had done a good deed by protecting their friends from danger. As they swam away from the sunken ship, the twin turtles felt grateful for the opportunity to explore and discover new things. They knew that by working together, they could accomplish anything. And so, the twin turtles continued their journey through the ocean, always searching for new treasures and new adventures, always working together and always staying true to their kind and caring nature. One day, the twin turtles were swimming through the ocean when they saw a magnificent sight. It was the Great Barrier Reef, one of the most beautiful places in the ocean. The twin turtles were amazed. They had never seen so many colors in one place before. The coral was bright pink, orange, and green. There were fish of all shapes and sizes swimming through the coral forest. The twin turtles decided to explore the Great Barrier Reef. They swam through the coral forest, darting in and out of the coral structures. They saw clownfish darting in and out of anemones and turtles resting on the ocean floor. As they swam, they noticed that some of the coral was damaged. There were large patches of dead coral, and many fish were swimming away from them. The twin turtles were concerned. They knew that coral was important to the ocean ecosystem. They decided to investigate what was causing the coral damage. They swam through the ocean, talking to other sea creatures. They learned that humans were the cause of the damage. Humans were throwing trash into the ocean and using chemicals that were harming the coral. The twin turtles knew they had to do something. They decided to work together to clean up the Great Barrier Reef. They swam through the coral forest, picking up pieces of trash and carrying them away. They also helped to spread healthy coral by carrying it to new areas. As they worked, they noticed that other sea creatures were helping too. The fish were carrying away small pieces of trash, and the crabs were using their claws to pick up larger pieces. Together, the twin turtles and the other sea creatures worked hard to clean up the Great Barrier Reef. When they were done, the coral was healthy and vibrant once again. The twin turtles felt proud of themselves for helping to protect the Great Barrier Reef. They knew that by working together, they could make a difference and protect their ocean home. And so, the twin turtles swam away from the Great Barrier Reef, happy in the knowledge that they had helped to protect one of the most beautiful places in the ocean. They knew that they would always be there to protect their ocean home and all the sea creatures who lived there.